welcome back to ASBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by my preview cohort, my friend Elliott Grigg. Elliott, we're looking at a big fight here this weekend. IBF World Cruiserweight title on the line between Jay Opetaia and Jordan Thompson. British interest, obviously, as well with Thompson. Undefeated against undefeated. Both got pretty big knockout records. You look at Opetaia, obviously the reigning champion, and we may as well get straight into it. I mentioned there that he is the reigning title holder. He beat Marek Breedon 14 months ago, it was now, roughly. It was the last time we saw him in a ring. So it's maybe a difficult question to start with, but I'm going to go straight in and ask you, Elliott, is Guy Opetaia the best cruiserweight in the world right now?
Oh, thank you very much, Paul, for that eloquent introduction. And to be honest with you, what a question to start off. I mean, I'm not treading water trying to think. I mean, it's almost like it's so hard to say, isn't it? Because I look at Joe Opetaia and I think Breedis is probably his only real win of note. And then you look at the other champions around that division. Is it Gula Mararian? And his CV. And you say, yeah, obviously that guy's an undefeated fighter, and at the same time, but hasn't really fought anyone of note either that you'd sit back and go, that's a real sort of mark out victory. Is it Billum Smith? Obviously beating a Coley. Before that victory, you'd have been laughed if you'd have said Billum Smith's the best cruiserweight in the world. I would have actually said that Coley was the best cruiserweight in the world until he's obviously got stopped by Billum Smith. So bloody hell, Paul, I don't know. I mean, in the one hand, the thing is, I don't want to say Jay Opetaia is. I kind of can't bring myself to say that he is. But equally, I don't have anyone that I can say is either. It seems to me like a kind of division that's fragmented. And I just can't bring myself to say Opetaia. I can't bring myself to say Gulamarian, even his name, let alone that he's the best cruiserweight in the world. So what I'm going to do, Paul, actually, is I'm going to parry that initial shot from you. I'm going to throw it right back at you and say, Paul Kelly, do you think Opetaia is the best cruiserweight in the world, yes or no?
Yeah. Again, I'd never really heard of him before the Breedis fight. You look at the Breedis fight and you think, Breedis is the best cruiserweight, no bother. He'll win this. And then, Opetaia was sensational that night. So do you know what I'm going to say he is? Again, completely mad to think that I would have said that Lawrence Okolie was the best before the Billum Smith defeat. Then he showed, not that, he's never been the most exciting fighter in the world, Okolie, but then he showed a lot of frailties in that fight. He got knocked down, 3 or 4 times? Just did not look like he wanted to be there half the time, looked novice. And you're looking at Opetaia, and let's be honest, if anyone that does say is the best, including myself, you're just judging him off that Breedis win. You're not judging him off anything else. Because that was at a certain level. Those fights, he's obviously a big puncher, so yeah, you got to say that. I'm going to say he is, but it's funny, mate, because you look at Jordan Thompson, and again, he's only 15-0. Hasn't really had. He's only had. Would you even call Vasyl Dukar and Luke Watkins notable names on the record? Whether you would or not, I suppose remains to be seen. But you're looking at the British cruiserweight scene, and obviously you mentioned McCauley and Billum Smith there. You've got Isaac Chamberlain and Lawal fighting each other, kind of knocking about there. You've heard of them. Then Jordan Thompson just kind of came from nowhere, all of a sudden got this world title shot now, and you're like, see the way the cruiserweight division's gone recently. You're like, would you be surprised if he somehow pulled it off? Do you know what I mean? You just seem to be saying, yeah, he's the best cruiserweight in the world, and then he loses. So can you imagine? Like, I'm not going to be surprised one bit if Jordan Thompson somehow pulls this off. But no, we'll come on to our predictions and all, obviously, a bit later. But that was kind of a long-winded answer to think that, yeah, I think Jay Opetaia probably is, for me, the best cruiserweight in the world. I mentioned there about Jordan Thompson and his chances. Elliott, he's 15-0 with 12 KOs, big puncher, 30 years old. Quite big, he's 6'6", so he's bigger than Opetaia. But do you think that he's kind of potentially, the fight's coming a little soon for him? He hasn't had that acid test, even at European level. You look at Luke Watkins, is he even a British level heavyweight? Vasyl Dukar obviously gave Chris Billum Smith a tough fight, but again, a certain level. Should you perhaps think that this is a little too much too soon for Jordan Thompson?
You know what? People were talking about sort of Elliott Paul coming into sort of a title challenge, but then Elliott Paul's only sort of 16-0 himself. And, obviously he's had that Billum Smith fight. Thompson's 15-0. You know what? I actually think this is good matchmaking. I really do. I think this is actually. I mean, it might be. I mean, you might sit there and go, it might be slightly premature. I can kind of get that. Like you say, the acid test hasn't necessarily happened. But I also feel like Jay Opetaia, other than that Breeders' victory and the fact, he's fought pretty much exclusively in Australia, is. I know you've called him the best champion in the world champion cruiserweight, current cruiserweight champion in the world. But I actually think Jordan Thompson can win this, and I think this. I think he's quite a weak champion, and I actually think this is a great opportunity for Jordan Thompson. Like you say, the size advantage, the fact that he's got power. Obviously, if he gets clipped by Opetaia, he could also go himself. Frankly, like Joe say, Opetaia can bang. But I think this is good matchmaking. I think this is cheeky matchmaking, and I don't want to give my prediction away, Paul. I don't want to give you any sort of inclinations to which way I'm going to go and possibly get yourself on the front foot. But I think this is a live fight. And I think this is good matchmaking, and yeah, I mean, obviously we'll find out, but just based on the potential weakness of the division, I think this is a good opportunity.
Interesting. I think we may as well come on to our predictions now as well. I've just for the record, I've just noted down to the viewers there. I've just noted down a quote from Elliott Grigg. Opetaia is a weak champion. So depending on the performance, I'm going to be bringing that one up next week potentially, because that could age magnificently for you, or it could be a terrible, terrible call from yourself.
It could be a retirement show.
It remains to be seen. Elliot, I suppose it's come that time in the video where we may as well give our predictions. And if I think you're going to say, I have a feeling I know what you're going to say here, and you know what? Fair play. The floor is yours. What are your thoughts on this fight? What's your predictions?
Oh, fuck it, I'm a double down, baby. Get that pen ready because you're about to write something else down now, and that is I think Jordan Thompson's going to win this. I'm going to go Thompson KO, Paul. I'm going full Brexit. I don't care, like it is what it is now. I'm going with the British vote, possibly, which is not something I usually do, but I think Thompson's got the attributes, frankly. I think he's got the power, he's got the height, and I think if he catches Opetaia, he can win this. Granted, like I said before, if he gets clipped, he can also lose this, but I just think hopefully if he can use his size, be motivated, obviously, be hungry. Obviously, he's a genuine world title shot here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that Opetaia is taking it lightly and that he's cruising as a champion, but this is like climbing the summit for Jordan Thompson as far as I can see. So, what an opportunity! Hopefully, he just comes in, equipped and ready, and I think he can stop Opetaia, Paul. And I'm not going to give you a round, Paul. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of me getting the round wrong, but I think it's going to be. If I had to say it, I'd say mid to late. But I think, yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm going Jordan Thompson KO. Do you concur, Paul? Or are we going to get our comments filled up with the same sort of division that characterises a lot of Britain at the moment?
I mean, we're definitely disagreeing on this one. I'm sorry. As much as you want the Brits to do well, and you want British boxing to flourish. I can't see it. I just think that when your best wins against Luke Watkins and you've been put on the deck by Vasyl Dukar, I think that Jay Opetaia, you're biting off more than you can chew there. I'm not, no disrespect to Jordan Thompson. He probably maybe deserves a shot based on other people that have been our world champions or have had world title shots of late, but I just can't see him winning. For me, it's just that lack of an acid test. Like, he hasn't even fought, has he fought anyone that you would say is British title level? Mikel Lawal and Isaac Chamberlain are fighters for the British title. I think both of them perhaps beat Jordan Thompson. I don't know. So yeah.
That's a body blow. You're hammering me, man. You're hammering me. All right, go on.
So it's just the lack of an acid test. I could be waking up on Sunday morning looking like an absolute fool, but yeah, remains to be seen, mate. You know what? I full respect. I hope he does pull it off, and you can be gloating all you want, getting your Thompson, you get your Thompson merch on for next week's videos. But yeah. In a fight, looking forward to it, and yeah, always good to have World Championship boxing on UK shores. Elliot, really enjoyed that one, mate. Thanks for joining me as always, guys. Be sure to check out the rest of the content on the channel. Obviously, we've got interviews from press conferences and weigh-ins and so on and so forth, fight breakdowns, interviews with fighters as well coming up in the cards in a few weeks. We're looking at the likes of the Lee Wood, Josh Warrington fight we'll be looking at ahead, and of course the fights this weekend as well. The Gassiev Wallen fight and the Canelo Charlo fight, we've previewed them, so go check those out. All that remains to be said is thanks guys for watching. Elliot, thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, guys, for watching.